Moved through last night and did substantial damage, unfortunately killing 2 and injuring many others. And we're just waiting to find out more details coming out of this part of central Oklahoma. So this is pretty substantial damage. Right now, the preliminary estimates from the National Weather Service are that this tornado is EF2 strength, but they're still going through the work. And we'll find out exactly what the final assessment is as soon as they give us those numbers. There's El Reno, Oklahoma, right there. And there's Oklahoma City. And this is last night at about 10:30. Looking at this map, it looks like a giant mess. This is not one of those radars that is imminently screaming supercells, discrete hook echoes with lots of tornadoes inside them. No, in fact, this is a line of thunderstorms that moved right through the El Reno area last night. But the problem is it had a tornado, at least one of them, inside of it right near El Reno. And sometimes these lines of storms, especially in situations like this, can have exactly that. They're hidden inside of rain, inside of a line of thunderstorms, let alone it being 10:30 p.m. local time after dark. So what we're talking about is right in there. You'd never guess that there's a tornado in there without looking at the velocity signature inside of that from the Doppler radar out of Oklahoma City. And there it is. There is an estimate of a wind of about 100 miles per hour inbound at 2,500 feet above the ground. So a very tight circulation is in there, circulating around like that. And perhaps one of the more ominous signs that we got from the radar last night was when we did one more scan using a different variable called the correlation coefficient. And we are looking actually right in here. And you might think, okay, well, I just see a bunch of red. Well, you do at this moment, but this, looking at the radar in this way, gives you an idea if indeed there is debris being lofted into the air from damage being done by the tornado. Watch what happens when you go from this scan to the next moments later, and you can see all of a sudden a blue dot showing up. That would be right about here, just to the east of El Reno, indicating indeed damage, debris being lofted into the air. That is just as and slightly after the tornado has moved through El Reno, picking up the debris, lofting it high in the sky, and the radar is picking that up and noting it there as a blue dot in an otherwise sea of red. That is an ominous sign, and that's one of the ways we can confirm via radar that a tornado is in progress. It's exactly what happened last night just after 10:30 p.m. local time. Today, we've got more severe weather in play, we think, across the high plains. This area in purple is an area outlined by the Storm Prediction Center as a moderate risk. Now, that's pretty high on their scale of assessments for the likelihood of severe weather today. And we do think that we will see thunderstorms develop in a similar way than what we saw yesterday along a dry line in western Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Right about there, sometime 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Right now, looking at the satellite pictures, there's some cirrus clouds over there. Maybe that holds back the timing a little bit on the development of storms, but I think it will take place and then move eastward from there. These storms will develop on the dry line and then move away from them and carry with them that risk for damaging winds and maybe even a couple of tornadoes, once again, inside of a line that propagates eastward across the plains overnight tonight. Now, the emergency alerts on your phone could be the only thing that stands between you and serious injury from the next round of storms. Paul Goodlow has the steps to safety.
We're not always by our TVs and radios when severe weather strikes, but chances are we do have our mobile phones with us. The emergency alert features found on most smartphones can be a lifesaver during severe weather. Here's how to make sure yours are enabled. On the iPhone, simply go to Settings, click Notifications, and scroll down to the bottom. Make sure the emergency alerts and public safety alerts are toggled to the green on position. For many Android phones, look in your message settings for the word alerts, and you can choose which ones you want to enable from there. Some alerts can be in other locations on Android phones, so just search for the words emergency alerts. Fortunately, these smartphone alerts will work in any town you're in and will warn you of any possible dangerous weather heading your way.
Wise words and tips from Paul for sure, and make sure you do check your phones, especially as we have the threat for severe weather and expected through tomorrow and even into Tuesday. So this time tomorrow, we do have the chance for severe weather a little bit further north than we're expecting the threat for Tuesday. Now, North Platte, Des Moines, Chicago, some of the cities in the danger zone, even extending far south as well. But Tuesday, that threat gets enhanced. We do have that likely shot of severe weather right here in the dark red areas, including some spots that have already seen some severe weather, including you and El Reno, just west of Oklahoma City, you're still in that possible danger zone. So we have Torcons in place. These numbers can change. This is Sunday. We're talking Tuesday. That number can easily go up. So now is the time to keep a close eye on the forecast. This Torcon a 5 for parts of the Midwest, down into South Oklahoma and northern Texas. Torcon a 4, and this is on a 1 to 10 scale. So we're talking about a 50, 40, and even a 30% chance of seeing a thunderstorm, or a tornado, I should say, within a 50-mile radius. So now is the time to make sure you have a way to get those alerts, make sure your phone is charged, and know your safe zone as we get into the next couple of days. Tuesday, not only do we have the threat in the plains, we also have the severe threat picking up across the mid-Atlantic and the Ohio River Valley once again. Bradford, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Toledo also impacted by the severe threat, mainly winds and hail with that. But with the tornado threat growing into tonight, join us at 9 Eastern for special live coverage of these dangerous storms. Dr. Forbes joins us as well.
Michelob Ultra Pure Cold. Beer in its organic form.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
Your she shed was struck by lightning.
Zachary, is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shear?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful news.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Right now, Domino's has a large $5.99 carryout special. With a deal this amazing, we're going to need a ton of boxes. This week, carry out large 2-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each, only at Domino's.
Want a relaxing pedicure?
Relaxing pedicure? My feet get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my feet back.
Behr presents A Job Well Done. Painting be done and stay done. Behr, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with interior paints. Right now, get incredible savings on Behr, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Honey, time to go.
Guess what?
What?
Coach said I get to play forward today.
Wow.
If I score a goal, I'm gonna go like this. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Then I'm gonna do something like this. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And oh, yeah, it's your turn to
Bring this smash.
How many teammates do you have again? Frito-Lay variety packs, packed with possibilities.
I cannot imagine managing my diabetes without my Dexcom.
This is the Dexcom G5 Mobile Continuous Glucose Monitoring System. A small wearable sensor measures your glucose every 5 minutes and sends the data to a Dexcom receiver.
Dexcom helps lower A1C and improves quality of life. If you're over 65 and you have diabetes,
if the bills are piling up from a truck or car wreck, call Lawler & Lawler at 618-LAWYERS for a free consult. Free consults continue until you get the recovery you deserve. One call, that's all.
Problems with your slow service? You want Extreme Internet because it's faster. Faster for all your peeps. And all your peeps' peeps. Faster in every room with amplified Wi-Fi 360. Faster and easier.
Play Bird Box on Netflix.
To stream all your favorites. And even faster than advertised with internet speeds that over-deliver. Add Extreme Internet as low as $14.99 a month for 1 year. Call 844-EXTREME-5.
I'm Dr. Michael Lawler, a board-certified internal medicine physician. I specialize in adult primary care and treat both acute and chronic medical conditions. Call the Lawler & Lawler Medical Clinics at 618-993-1111.
Frankly, it's probably more affordable than you think.
Ready for peace of mind? Text us now and get your real rate.
Stream your news just like everything else you love with Local Now. It's completely free and ready to go when and where you are. Local Now. Find it in your favorite app store.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy early, followed by scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. High 85. Chance of rain 40%. Tonight, partly cloudy early, followed by cloudy skies overnight. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 67. Monday, cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. High 89. Here's our 7-day outlook.
That's right, coming to you from El Reno, Oklahoma, a place that's had a storied history, a checkered past, if you will, when it comes to rough weather. I said a couple of days ago, it was a story of flash flooding. You'll remember in 2013, they had a massive tornado that at one point was in excess of 2.5 miles wide. Now we have a prairie breeze that's coming in from south to north. The sky, well, it's a patchwork of blue and gray. And then right across the street, what we see is something else that's promising, and that is the help, the assistance that comes from some places right up the street, other spots from many miles away. And they're converging to do what they can to try to help this place get back to normal. But I'll tell you, these folks that are here, what a tall order they have. As we venture across the street, what you're going to see is some of the damage that, again, the fury that was unleashed last night. A tornadic tantrum, if you will. I mean, just shattered trees, buildings, all kinds of debris. Some of it's stuff recognizable, some of it isn't. It's a mystery. But what isn't a mystery is that all hell broke loose here overnight, and we're seeing the left of it. There has been a cost, not just property. 2 people have lost their lives, about 24 people in the hospital, some of them with some minor injuries, others going through surgery today. Very difficult times, no doubt. True testament that, I'll tell you folks, seconds mean centuries. Seconds make such a big, big difference between survival and people losing their life. We've got rough weather in the forecast for today, not only in terms of severe storms and possible tornadoes, but also flooding. Make the right decisions, get to safe spots, be careful. That's a story from El Reno. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Well, let's continue in terms of the tornadoes. The central U.S., they have seen its fair share of severe weather, including tornadoes. Past couple of days here, many have ripped across Texas, Missouri, even Oklahoma, in fact, including El Reno just last night.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even more severe weather is set to strike, bringing in the threat for damaging winds, thunderstorms, and yes, once again, tornadoes to hard-hit areas all over again. So let's get some expertise. I mean, Dr. Postel, I mean, many people might be wondering and thinking to themselves, hey, it seems like we've seen an above normal amount of tornadoes and severe weather so far this year. Is that true?
It is very true. And if you look at the national numbers like this graph shows, you can see that we're well ahead of pace for this time of year. This is now the month, and we normally see that the real steep increase in the number of tornado reports during the warm season, you know, April, May, June. And we've seen that, and we see that normally, but this year we are actually considerably ahead of the average pace, almost by 100, and that's a national view. But we also know that the central U.S. has been especially hard hit this year with, for example, places in central Oklahoma seeing about 3 times the number of tornadoes that they would see in the last 30 months on average. So it's been really busy.
And that's picked up lately. In fact, the beginning of the year, it wasn't even, the beginning of May wasn't even this part. But let's talk about this year compared to last year, because last year it was a super quiet year compared to average. But so what has changed in our atmosphere to get this May super active?
That's a really good question. And this year, we've kind of seen the optimal conditions set up across parts of the Central Plains for severe weather. We've had 2 things in particular that stand out, and in fact, are really well predicted even 6 to 10 days out. So it's almost like we could sort of sense that an active period was coming going back 1 or 2 weeks ago. Meaning, we knew that there was going to be a big-time ridge in the southeast. Very hot conditions, a heat wave, and essentially a very dry period. But to the west, we had a big trough. And in between, we had some really strong winds aloft. And that jet stream kind of moving around the Central Plains, all the while having access to warm and unstable air. That volatile mix has been more or less steady over the middle part of the country for the last couple of weeks.
You can almost say that's almost a pattern that started maybe even back in January. Hence all the rain we had, all the flood concerns that started months ago. It kind of continued into the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it seems like we've seen more or less one flavor of this southeastern ridging now, not going back just even last winter, but even before that. Something in the overall atmosphere is wanting to keep this thing there. And as long as we keep this thing there, I do believe the chances for severe weather on the periphery will continue. We have to watch that going forward. But real quick, let me compare it to 2018, going back last year, and how different the atmospheric setup was, Liana and Paul, because there was 2018. We had no ridge here, no trough there. We had a big ridge in the middle of the country. That's a dry-ish pattern with not much storms.
So, I mean, you kind of touched on this, Dr. Postel. What can we expect moving forward?
Good question, because the guidance still, the models and all the data do suggest that in some version or another, we're going to maintain, at least for the next 6 to 10 days, through early June. That's the wrong date. It's actually through early June that we will likely see warmth continue here and cooling in the west, and in between, the chance for storms on the periphery of that heat wave.
More severe, more tornadoes, even more flooding, huh?
Unfortunately, that is also part of the equation.
Good news.
And that severe threat continues as we take a look at radar right now across the plains Midwest and stretching into the Ohio River Valley. We're going to be tracking these storms through this afternoon and really this evening.
Yeah, and it's not like just in the Central Plains. We're going to have thunderstorms that stretch all the way from there to the northeast. I mean, look at the temps in New York, 87 degrees. Wow, that's going to support some big storms.
Oh, yeah, and the heat is on for the southeast. Check out Charlotte, 94 degrees, humidity.
All right, well, with the tornado threat growing into tonight, join us at 9 Eastern for special live coverage of these dangerous storms. And that's tonight at 9, only here on the Weather Channel.
Todd! No! You wouldn't just live with it if they did it, so why live with your cat scratching furniture? This could be due to fear and anxiety. Feel-Away products are clinically proven to help alleviate many stress-related cat behaviors. Find your solution at feelaway.com.
Every day, millions of people looking for healthy skin reach for Cetaphil, recommended by dermatologists, awarded by Allure, and most of all, loved by skin. Cetaphil, the cleanser sensitive skin loves.
You can't be serious with Twizzlers.
John Tyson's motto was, "When better chickens are hatched, we will hatch them." It's why all of the Tyson chicken that bears his name is raised with no antibiotics ever. Every nugget, strip, and drumstick. Keep it real. Keep it Tyson.
Your friend orders a Friday sirloin steak and big ribs. You want to up him with the steak, but add a steak. Figuring steak and steak trumps ribs and steak. But does it?
15 combinations, steak, ribs, shrimp, and more. 2 meats, 2 sides, $14.99.
My mom washes the dishes before she puts them in the dishwasher. So what does the dishwasher do?
Cascade Platinum does the work for you. Pre-washing and removing stuck-on foods the first time.
Wow, that's clean.
Cascade Platinum.
With my hepatitis C, I felt I couldn't be at my best for my family. And in only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured and left those doubts behind.
I faced reminders of my hep C every day, but in only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured.
Even hanging with friends, I worried about my hep C, but in only 8 weeks with Mavyret, I was cured.
Mavyret is the only 8-week cure for all common types of hep C. Before starting Mavyret, your doctor will test if you've had hepatitis B, which may flare up and cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B, a liver or kidney transplant, other liver problems, HIV-1, or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Don't take Mavyret with atazanavir or rifampin, or if you've had certain liver problems. Common side effects include headache and tiredness.
With hep C behind me, I feel free.
Fearless.
And there's no looking back, because I am cured.
Talk to your doctor about Mavyret.
I can't tell you who I am or what I witnessed, but I can tell you Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I only paid for what I need. No.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Todd!
You wouldn't just live with it if they did it, so why live with your cat peeing outside the litter box? This could be due to fear and anxiety. Feel-Away products are clinically proven to help alleviate many stress-related cat behaviors. Find your solution at feelaway.com.
Welcome back to Weekend Recharge. We have one more thing to get to and give you a reminder of what might be happening later on today with severe weather likely across the Central Plains. This area shaded in purple is outlined as a moderate risk by the Storm Prediction Center. That's pretty high on their assessment scale. So watch out for big time storms developing later on today in the Southern Plains and also out in here across parts of the Ohio Valley and Northeast for some severe weather this evening, with the most likely threat being damaging winds and some hail. But the tornado risk, the greatest tornado risk on this map anywhere, is in the high plains, and we'll see it begin to develop, we think, later on this afternoon, as this model suggests. Now, this is not perfect, but it's a guess, and a good one, at where the initiation or the development of thunderstorms will be. Likely out here, maybe the high plains of Colorado, western Texas. Maybe individual cells beginning with the tornado threat, probably eventually turning into something in the flavor of what we saw last night, with clusters or lines of storms moving off the dry line over the Central Plains of Kansas and Oklahoma during the overnight hours, continuing with the threat for high winds, hail, and even a couple of tornadoes long after dark. So we have to watch out for that possibility. Remember what happened last night in El Reno, Oklahoma, just to the west of Oklahoma City, where a tornado went through there long after dark at about 10:30. So the tornado risk tonight will likely continue at least to that time frame, and then perhaps begin to weaken thereafter in the overnight hours. But we're not done, because tomorrow is yet another day of the potential for severe weather across the plains and Midwest. Same thing on Tuesday. That could be an even greater risk across the Central Plains. And we got one more day for you. How about this? On Wednesday, yes, more severe weather across the plains. So it's going to be an active several days yet to come. Be sure you stay tuned to the Weather Channel for all the latest, and definitely tonight for live coverage on the tornado threat all the way through the midnight hour until 1 a.m.
Pilot Peak in the Boise National Forest is a snowmobiler's heaven. But behind its rugged beauty lie a multitude of dangers. When an Idaho couple is delayed on an afternoon ride,